He's been called the most brilliant voice to come along in jazz guitar since Wes Montgomery. A soft-spoken, self-effacing guitar genius who breathes in lungfuls of raw fire when he straps on his guitar. Seattle-based guitarist Bill Frisell's unique sound earned him a 2004 Grammy Award for the recording Unspeakable. It's also won him the praise of collaborators like Bono, Elvis Costello, and film director Gus Van Sant, along with critics and fans. They've followed Frisell's musical path from jazz to country to world music and back. Bill Frisell recently shared some thoughts and tunes with us at Ballard's Tractor Tavern.
I was 10 when I started to play clarinet in the school band, so that was really what I think of as sort of the beginning of where I really started to get into music more seriously. But it was also around that time that all the neighborhood kids, there would be a guitar across the street that my friend would have, and I'd sort of fool around on that. And this was around the time of like surf music. It was before the Beatles and all that, but people were already starting to get together and play in bands and stuff.
I always think of that as noodling on the guitar. You played in, it was like an R&B kind of band in high school, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was later. That's when things started to, was really fired up about it.
When did you decide, well, I'm going to be a musician?
I think later in high school was when I really it was just all I did and all I thought about, but I didn't have I didn't believe that I'd ever be able to do it, But then I met a teacher right in my last year of high school, Dale Bruning. This is all in Denver where I grew up, and that's when I started to get more into jazz music, and he just sort of opened this whole world to me. And there's so many people that gave me huge bursts of confidence along the way that I can't imagine how I could have kept going. But I was going to say he's one of the people that, said, well, yeah, you can probably do this.
So they gave you these bursts of confidence. Did you have some sense somewhere that you were good at it besides really liking it?
No, I mean, I still don't have a sense that I'm good at it. I mean, it still feels the same almost as the first time. Every time I pick up the instrument, it's like, what am I going to do with? I mean, really deep down inside, that's what it feels like. But
somehow you managed to transcend that.
No, I know. I mean, I still can't figure out how I've gotten here, I get to play all the time and people listen to me.
There are people who can hear your music on the radio, or, well, mostly on the radio, and they can identify a particular sound that your guitar has that's distinctive.
That's something, it's hard for me to say myself. I mean, all the music I love, it's, when you hear one note, that's Miles Davis, or that's Jimi Hendrix, or that's Bach, or that's whatever kind of music it is. There's all these individual, unique people, and I always thought that was what you had to try to reach for, but I wasn't aware of getting to that point myself. It's more like people would say, wow, it's this outside perception that people tell me, oh, you sound like this, or you sound, so inside, I don't know, maybe I'm trying to imitate West Montgomery, but I can only get out half of it or
This is an acoustic guitar that's sitting on your lap. And when I hear you play, I mean, when you look at other players who would hold an acoustic guitar, do you hold your fingers in the same way? Do you do the same things when you strum?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, so it just comes out a different.
But I mean, I think everybody has their own voice, everyone on the planet, and it's more a matter of just being honest with where you're from and what got you to where you are now.
You have played with people with actual instruments, but you also play with electronic feedbacks and loops with yourself. And do you do that live, or is that something you can only do in a studio?
Oh no, that's live, yeah. I love sort of when things happen unexpectedly or being in different rooms, different size rooms or different sounding rooms, everything reacts differently. I mean, even if it's just an acoustic instrument or if I'm playing electric guitar, like you said, feedback will happen in one room and it won't happen in another room. And so you learn, I mean, I like that you can never quite figure it out. But then you sort of, maybe in the studio you can, man, I wish I could get that thing that happened in that.
So you're listening for those sounds?
Yeah, and then try to grab onto them.
You won a Grammy Award in 2004 for a collaboration with Hal Willner. You weren't at the Grammy Awards itself. Why not?
I mean, it would have been nice, I guess, to go. I was sort of nervous about a thing like that, like what would I wear or what, but I just wasn't thinking about, I mean, I was in the midst of playing and touring, and then I remember the night that the Grammys, I had just finished some touring, and I went to New York, and I went to this hotel room, and the next day I was gonna do a recording with Paul Motion and Ron Carter, the bass player, who is another one of my, I can't even tell you what a hero he is. And for me to get to play with those guys, I was like, it was my record, and I'm thinking, what am I gonna play? You know, I'm trying to figure out what tunes we're gonna play. And then the phone rings, and it was Hal Willner, who was in LA, and said, you won. I was like, I wasn't even thinking about it. So, I mean, I was happy, but I was more worried about what I was going to do the next day. So.
Does the Grammy change anything about what you play or how you play?
Certainly didn't for me. I know. Didn't. I don't think it. I don't know what. I still don't really understand quite what it is. It didn't seem to do much for me.
You've been in Seattle about 15 years, is that right?
Yeah, or even, it was 89 when we moved here.
You left what people think of New York as the center of the American music scene. Why Seattle?
Well, I've been looking, I've been in New York or in that area for, I guess, 10 years, and was wanting to, it was soon after my daughter was born, and we'd been wanting to get out of the city, and we were looking upstate New York or Massachusetts, and then some friends of ours, Wayne Horvitz and Robin Holcomb, they also had a kid the same age as our daughter. They moved out here, and we came out to visit, and it just, one thing led to another.
So it worked out.
Yeah, it's been great.
There's a critic who has called you the Clark Kent of the electric guitar, and I always like that because it's kind of cute, but what does that mean to you?
I guess I don't know, because I wear glasses, and
I think maybe people think of you as unassuming until you start to play. I
guess so. I mean, I still don't feel very assuming when I play either, but But no, that's the place where I really feel like I can communicate more than like now speaking.